Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre, and we're going to start the show off the same way we start every show off, with a moment of gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, so the fact that you're spending with us truly does mean the world to me. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro. All right, we're back. We got a barn burner today. This is going to be a fun one. We have a returning guest, a gentleman that lives across the street from me. You guys know him well as Mr. Keith McGrath. So, Keith, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well. It's nice to see you grow your business, and
Thank you,
nice
sir.
to see a hometown boy. Certainly, I suppose I'm no stranger to some, and I'm actually disliked by a few, and I can live with that. And I suppose as the summer matures, and of course, as the NOHA Group uses some of your own services, local services to promote our brand, I'm getting a new respect for how this media stuff works. I didn't appreciate the power of social media, and it magnifies the ugliness in the world because people, I guess, gravitate to sad news as opposed to happy news. So I guess it's up to us to kind of turn that tide, if you will.
That's right. No, you're completely right. You couldn't have said it better, actually. It's a sin how most people do gravitate to the bad and the sad when there's so much good that's taking place in our community.
Well, I remember sitting in this very chair a few months back, and I think I had one side of my rib cage that
That's
I
right.
was going to get back, and my head took quite a concussion. And I look back on life, and I know that there's a few times I suffered with substance abuse or just drowning my sorrows or the real pain and drugs and alcohol. And I looked up that day, and I before Danny Dion lifted that snow machine off me, I seen my wife, I seen my daughters, and I seen my son.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this strange man almost with a cape almost.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if that was Chief Fern or Singleton, some guys that were in my life.
Right.
Or Sean. But I got another kick out of it.
Yeah.
So I guess I woke up a bit in the last 6 months, And as you know, as your wife would know from the district, they were probably the best 17 years I ever had in public service.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first thing that I wanted to give up, so I had more time for my own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's been quite a run.
Yeah. You've had a pretty interesting life, to say the least.
Well,
A lot of friends. You're pretty infamous in this community.
Well, I came here on the bus with nothing,
Yeah.
and it's given me everything.
That's right.
It's given me a family. It's given me all the material stuff. You can have all that stuff and still have nothing.
Yeah.
And when you take a sober look around the community,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of families here that gave everything they had to a community, and now I'm privileged to work with their kids.
Right.
The same people, whether it was Norm or Wendell, Peter and Vera, the Blumenshines, the Calagrews, Paul fed us just here in 523 Hanging Stone, myself and Sean, my cousin, Glenn, Owen, Cease. I think there was probably 12 of us.
Right.
In a 3-bedroom apartment. My God, if you said that to kids today, you'd be put in court for child abuse.
Yeah.
But anyways, we lived in 523 Hanging Stone, and I sit here today and I think, boy, it's been a wonderful community, not just to me, but to thousands of others.
Right.
And somehow we've lost our way.
Yeah.
And we need to find a way back.
That's right.
And I think in time we will. But we've had a multitude of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Publicly. Was I challenged personally? Absolutely. And I think I'm starting to find my own way.
Yeah.
And yesterday when we went to City Hall, the doors were locked. And I thought, July, almost end of July, and I've put on about 68,000 kilometers in the months I've been sober.
Mm-hmm.
I met some wonderful people. I can tell you that not every politician is a bad politician.
That's right.
We called upon Senator Doug Black, on a Saturday morning when we were with some chiefs and some AT leaders, and we needed some help. And within an hour, Senator Black called us back, and I left the room because, Indigenous people will never have the trust for white people.
Mm.
And I get that. There's a whole multitude of challenges and headwinds that we have coming as a community.
Yeah.
And if we're not careful, there will create a divide that other people tried to champion for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that there's enough local people left in this community
to
help it, to grow some more seeds
mm-hmm.
and turn it into a community that you and I grew up in, where I used to cruise Franklin Avenue with Sean and the boys in the old Chevy band. And we'd say let's cruise. I'm not saying that we got to go back to that.
Right.
Let's go back to the Blueberry Festival days and the
Right.
Porcupines and the Castigliones and the Roberts and the Gileses and the Germains and the Bougiers. I mentioned names, but I can't mention them all because the folks know me.
Yeah.
Yeah, could I be an arsehole? Yeah, sure I can. Everybody can be. But at the end of the day, I've always committed to making sure that our elders and seniors and our kids are looked after.
Yeah.
Something like yourself and your wife. Because there's 2 generations of people that count on us each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
They'll forgive a night out or something like that, but that's who we're supposed to look after.
Right.
When I guess what I have a real appreciation. As you know, or most people know, I spent over a decade with ACON, and we, good community partner. We used to get to the soup kitchens here, to the Ronald McDonald houses, to the Bissell kitchens, and all that started back at Gonzaga.
Okay.
In the 80s, where we had what we call the Men for Others program. And I found the true value of giving back.
Yeah.
And even though we done it, our seniors used to love us. Wednesday evenings we play bingo and bring entertainment and stuff. But I guess what I'm getting at, that's what we carried on later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
This whole community, the Hatfields, the Voys, Johnny Gillis, the owners of East Village Pub. This is a community that gives.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's starting to be too many people that take. Because every stupid decision that's made at City Hall is made by some consultant from out of here.
Right.
And what is done, you go down Franklin Avenue, you torpedoed from one end to the other. And some of these guys that parade themselves around and call themselves big community guys, they're the same guys that watch people starve while they owe money.
Right.
And I guess what I said earlier, I used to drown a lot of my pain in the late nights.
Yeah.
But then when that guy upstairs gave me another breath to draw after February 21st, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people say I
Bit of a change.
some people say I displugged from city council and stuff like that. What I displugged was from the bullshit. Pardon the French.
Yeah.
But boy, look around you. Look around you. We have grass that's growing on government properties, and we let it grow to 3 or 4 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
We have city properties that people are starting to use as their garbage laydowns.
Yeah.
We got a real problem.
That's right.
We've lost our way.
Right.
And it's going to take a few good people to bring it on back. And that's why I'd like to say I'd like to see a flood of names. I see people run for council, and they're going to change this, and they're going to change that. They're going to do this. I remember about this time of the year, not too long ago, being blackmailed.
Okay.
By a candidate.
Yeah.
But there was one guy that stopped that, because it's our community. This is nothing personal. It's our community. We have one chance, I think, to make this right. To recognize the greatest partners we have is industry.
Right.
And to recognize not everybody down at City Hall have done it all before.
Right.
Because we live with that, you see. Oh, I done this before. Oh, I done that. well, why in the name of God are we up there replacing the sidewalk, the 7th time around? Or building a snow dam that nobody can demonstrate to me that we had to do it.
That's right.
We had to do it because we get these people from out of town, you see. They come in as consultants. Consultants on top of consultants. And then they tell guys like me and you where the snow is.
Right.
And you know what? We can bring light to it.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. When I first joined the race to be an elected official was 1997.
Right.
I had $500. And Eric Newell's old truck from somehow, I think Hatfield might have got it for $50 or $60 or $5. We had to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I painted her flat black and had 2 signs.
Right.
I was working for Ford and Cole. I had a piece of paper so it's been a journey.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's been but my best service was to the Catholic School Board.
Right.
And I'll say this publicly. There's good and bad in everybody, in every organization. And what we're going to go through here now, a reconciliation that should have been done years ago. Mm-hmm. But that reconciliation for me comes a little bit closer than people realize.
Right.
And Chris Hyman, I know you're listening. The walk that my boss started, Chief Vern Janvier, the walk that he started, that he's going to finish, is not just for those Indigenous kids. It's for the kids that couldn't talk. For the kids that couldn't talk. We got a I think, a generational problem. But we have to deal with that. And the biggest healer in all of this will be ourselves and the government that was responsible for it. And what I learned in government is when you get a little close to the fire, people either leave, they quit, or they blame it on the other guy. The feds blame it on the province blames it on the municipality. But you know what? People put people in those elected officials to be the representatives of those elders and the seniors, because mom and dad want to look after them too.
Right.
That makes it all one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird kind of summer, because it's the best kind of summer I've ever had.
Yeah.
But in another sense, it's taken me back to a long road.
Yeah.
And if I can help my boss just bring the light that not everybody's bad, but there was some bad done. And I pray and I hope that those people, I wouldn't say they should be forgiven, but we should make things right with the people that are affected.
That's right.
The real cases.
Yeah.
And it's like, the cops get a bad rap. Well, I don't ever remember being in the back of a police car that I didn't deserve to be in.
Yeah, fair enough.
Right?
No, listen, I couldn't agree with you more.
I grew up in McMurray on the streets in Franklin Avenue, so handcuff Harry and Jeff and the boys.
Yeah.
Well, if Richard Serry and the boys weren't around to keep me out, I'd get the trip in.
Yeah.
Wayne Burke, he's out there in Toronto being a boxer, but another guy that kind of helped me out,
Yeah.
So reality is we've all had a bit of brush with the law, but they're not all bad.
That's right.
But there are some bad ones.
Sure.
And that gets portrayed. It's like a city councillor that's sitting in the middle of a city council meeting and getting swayed by public say on the social media.
Yeah.
I don't know if it happens. I hear tell it happens.
Yeah.
But Ron Morgan and those guys, Mr. Carberry, they taught me well just looking at them. I don't forget, guys, I ran in campaigns with those guys.
Yeah.
I remember meeting Jim Carberry because I like Jim, even though sometimes he gives me a kick in the arse, but he does it for a good reason.
Yeah.
But I remember me and him getting on this. You know how they used to wave at the traffic years ago?
Yeah.
I said, geez, Jim, we got to do this. No, not doing it. I said, Jim, if you want to be the mayor, you're going to do this. Well, he lasted 2 minutes by where Ford is today, by Marty and Denny's beautiful store.
Yeah.
He lasted 2 minutes. He looked at me. He had an old black trench coat on and an old top hat. I looked at him. I said, Jesus, Jim, we might need a fluorescent light because you're going to get knocked over.
Yeah.
Don't forget now, this is in October.
Yeah.
And it's pretty dark here going to work.
Yeah.
No, I know a lot of people that get elected. I've never been north of the bridge. I
Right.
get that.
Yeah.
But it's not a place. Now, don't forget me. We never had the 4-lane highways we got today.
That's correct.
It
No.
was me and Carberry, we were half one lane.
There you go.
So give me 2 minutes. He said, I'm getting out of here.
Now, speaking of mayors, did you see the post? It looks like Don isn't running.
I got to tell you something. Don Scott, I met Don Scott, and I think Don would agree, was probably second day in the Fort McMurray.
Okay.
And where would Keith McGrath meet a guy that was brand new to Fort McMurray? About, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
Was at the Thickwood Golf Course on hole number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Met this guy, lawyer guy, young guy. Turned out to be, he'd been in MLA. Helped the people get that nice facility down in Conklin. Tried to get that nice facility up there in Timberlea, but we got half of it in Willow Square. I have a lot of memories, and my biggest, and I'm making public apology to Don Scott right here today. Back in the day when we had that scuffle last summer, I think people would know me. I would have dealt it my own way, but I would have been arrested that day. But because administration spent so much time trying to get me out of office,
Yeah.
they wanted me to make sure that Don, was, hey. So that's why I went that way. Pastor Rideout was right. I should have looked after me and Don. But no, I was coaxed the other way. But people that know me again, I don't want to come across as some nice little kid.
Yeah.
I would have probably, well, people would have known. But I have a wife and kids to think about, and I have myself to think about. But more so, I have a community to think about. So I done what administration offered me to do, reported to the RCMP. Everybody knows it was wrong. I don't blame Don. Don't forget, guys, he just served office for 4 years, never missed an event, and he said publicly his wife was ill. Now I don't know if I could do that.
Right.
So I don't judge Don Scott. I don't judge anybody because I have my own faults, and I'm still working with my faults.
That's right.
But the biggest thing I got through was this, knowing that I had faults. Faults. My God, man, when you're dropped off on the bus and you got to fight for yourself, whatever you do to numb the pain, whatever. But you know what? I don't have that pain anymore now.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong, but I think I'm on a pretty good path.
Yeah.
And I only wish Don the best because this has been the worst 4 years I've ever served anything. And I've served on boards with Mr. Carberry and Ron Morgan, 3 of us on a board at Mac Allen when nobody else wanted to be on it.
Right.
I heard people say, if you build that place any bigger, you could shoot a rocket down there and you won't hit nobody. Well, the centerpiece of our community became that place.
That's right.
And there's 25 golfers that went in their pocket, me included, that couldn't afford it, but we believed in the golf course. And we have today one of the nicest golf courses in Canada, one of the best staff in Canada, and one of the best management teams in Canada running the place. And a year ago, they wanted to blow that place up.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's nuts.
It is nuts.
Nuts.
And if you care about your community, you got to do one or two things. You got to try to make a difference, or you got to be, hey, time to let the next generation run it.
There you go.
But as my boss would say,
Yeah.
our hard-working guys wore their hat on straight
Yeah.
to keep the sun out of their eyes while they were working. Don't let the guys that wear it sideways look after your community.
There you go. Now, speaking of young guys, we got one behind the camera. His name's Tanner. He has a segment called the Mac City Minute. So, Tanner, hit Mr. McGrath up with the Mac City Minute, please, and thank you.
All right. Question number 1. What is your most embarrassing moment from your time on council?
Me and Don Scott acting like 2 kids in front of a national camera, by far.
Question number 2. If you could choose one person to be the new mayor of Fort McMurray, who would you pick?
Chief Vern Janvier, because he's the only guy I've ever met, accepts you all your faults. A guy I met 30 years ago in the dumpster. He's got a lot of heart. And I heard people of his own people talk about him, but I worked with him now for 2.5 years, and if there's ever been a leader that has a heart, to be a leader, you need heart, because you can surround yourself people with the smartest money people that care about your community. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You need to have a heart, and we've been missing that for a while.
Question number 3. What do you feel was your biggest personal achievement from your time on council?
When I see the kids dancing through the splash park and remembering the doctor that brought 3 of my kids in the world and everybody else's, the Dr. Wong spray park.
AP Wong, yeah.
And second to that, with the help of Ramona Morrison and Shelley, I wouldn't give up on it. Responders Way, the bridge. All this stuff, it's, to me, it's not about me. It's about the people like Ramona and Shelley, Dr. Wan. Just, they're the legacy piece. And you know what it costs for McMurray rights? Yeah. Nothing. The best pieces in life are free. They're not lampshades. They're not facilities that are spent $50, $60 million to house a couple hundred people. My God, the best things in life are to remember those that made a difference in your own life.
There you go.
Question number 4. What is the best part of moving from council to NOHA?
Well, I think the best part for me is to work with the people that gave me my start in Fort McMurray. And that was the people of Fort Chippewa. When I worked at Tailings at Oakar, I worked with Bernie Burke and Fred. I worked with Happy. They're the boys that took me under their wing. And don't forget, Peter and Vera Nelson housed me, flew me back to Newfoundland 3 times when my father got sick and passed away. And let me tell you something, when you're making $8 an hour and you owe these 2 people $6,000 or $7,000, you're on a long drive. But those people built me a place in their hotel.
Yeah.
Put me through Keano College, and let me buy a car or 2 on the parking lot to sell. And look over across at Irv Williams. He gave me my first truck, financed it.
Yeah.
Dave Hill's dad let me finance my first ghetto blaster. And Nimmer, of course, he's still a nuisance in my life. He's the only guy I paid $600 for a car for, and I owed him $200 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to lay down here is this for the kids of today. Material stuff don't matter where to think, because it comes and goes out of your life. But what don't come and go out of your life are good people. Right. Good people. And I tell you, when you look through your life as a sober guy, even though, hey, I wouldn't say that, for the rest of my days, but I can tell you through a sober lens, I'd be graced with some beautiful people here in Fort McMurray that picked me up when I was down, give me a kick in the arse when I needed it. And I'm very thankful and grateful.
There you go.
And I think that, that February 21st, and that was a week after, how fitting, a week after Family Day,
right,
where for the first time, in a long time, where I had my whole family under one roof.
There you go. Beautiful.
And your final question, what is the biggest change you've noticed in Fort McMurray since you've got here?
Heart and opportunity. We've let the outsiders, consultants mostly, and some of those big shots that get those jobs, we let them take over. So the biggest thing that I notice is ownership and heart.
Yeah.
And those have been your 5 questions.
There you go. Well, Keith, thank you very much for coming on the show again. Really appreciate your time. We'd love to have you back again and again and again. Everybody, before they leave the show, gets a shameless shout out. So what would you like to plug with the next few minutes that you have?
Well, I would like to say, no matter where you're at in Ontario, you're walking for all the kids of any color. We live in a community where our social license is taxed, whether through the fire, through the flood, through the pandemic. There's a lot of hurt in this community, and if we're not looking after each other, nobody else is going to look after us. Because every time there's a problem from the feds, hey, I'd love to be like all those big fancy MPs that come back and going to do this and do that and do the other thing. There's nobody hears more complaints, or sees the pain that people go through than an elected city councillor. because they're with it every day.
Right.
And when people that are out there shouting they're going to make this big change in October, hold your hats, because the same guys thought we were nuts trying to negotiate a 10-year transition. And this is what I like to say. The shameless shout-out goes to this. The shameless shout-out goes to the MLAs and MPs that just idly stand by while the government rapes us for every nickel we're getting. Our kids, we're shrinking our budgets. People thought we were nuts for a 10-year transition. Just wait till your MLAs and your MPs sit silently by, and you're only getting a quarter of that to run this community on. And people can relate. When you start paying $12,000 to $15,000 a year for your home taxes, because right now we have the lowest home tax, residential tax.
Right.
Our school tax is about $2,200 average, but don't forget that's not. The government probably puts in twice that.
Right.
But as a country, we need to recognize this community and get those guys from Quebec out of the way. Get her all down there to where Carter can refuel it. We got a guy down in the east knows the west best. Mr. Carter now apparently is the chairman of Irving Hall. There's never been like now you got like you had Newell, Carter, Little, Asher, Parkinson. I'm for you, and I'm sorry if I forgot a few more, but that's to answer your question. That's who gets the shout out.
Yeah.
All they got to do is bring a few of those guys back for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Put your hand out to them, like we did during the fire. They're more than happy to help you.
Yeah.
They're more than happy to help you. But we got to get those guys with those big egos out of the way so they can ask for help.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to building a dike, geez, man, they're out there 24/7 building a dike. Bobby Cameron is somewhere out around here retired, and there's not a dike that leaks that he's overseen because we had to build a few for him.
Right.
But all of a sudden, I got guys that come into our community and say that, hey, Keith, boy, we can't build that kind of stuff in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But we're the only community that can spend $20 million and move it later on.
That's right.
It's actually criminal.
There you
that
go.
we have people living in the streets and we can piss away so much money.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a day of reckoning coming for somebody. And I don't mean that in a mean way.
No.
Because the money's going to run out, sir.
Yeah.
Anybody can have fat budgets
Yeah.
because you got lots of cash. Cash is king.
Yeah.
I heard so many stories in this last term that I'm also now trying to whittle them away through what's true and what's not.
There you go. Well, good luck with that.
I get more information than the public sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes. But I never swayed by Facebook or Twitter. I do what's right for my kids and hopefully their kids. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I've been choked up all summer because I come to this community with nothing, as I said earlier, and I got a little girl. She's getting married.
She's getting married in a few weeks. That's true. Yeah.
So that's pretty damn good.
That'll be a fun day for you, Keith. Well, once again, man, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it, and I know you'll be back again. Everybody at home, this has been another episode of the Mac City Morning Show. Thank you very much for tuning in. From the bottom of my heart, I truly do appreciate it. So thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.